Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dahlem Realty Company podcast. I'm your host, Teague Ridge. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by one of Dahlem Realty's owners, Jim Dahlem, and a very special guest, John Hinshaw, the president of Calhoun Construction. Now, John is a graduate of Purdue University. He's played a significant role in the construction of several prominent structures, including the Yum Center, Conseco Fieldhouse, Great American Ballpark, the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, and most recently, he's overseeing the updates to the historic Churchill Downs. Wow, John, unbelievable. So before we get started in any of this, give us a little bit of your background. How did you get started in the construction business?
Well, it started with my dad. He was an avid construction guy. He was a frustrated guy who should have been in construction, but he drove a concrete truck in the summertime as a school teacher. So that was his side job. So
right.
I spent my summers with my dad showing me, I poured concrete here, I poured concrete there, I poured concrete there, and we'd go around and look at construction sites. When I was a junior in high school, Purdue University came and said, we have this program called construction engineering. You can go build things as a career. And I was like, that's fantastic. My mom and my grandpa had both gone to Purdue, and I'm like, that sounds perfect. So I signed up for that program.
Okay. So you got into Purdue University, went through the engineering program, I'm assuming, and then the rest is history?
The rest is history. At Purdue, they do a great job of pushing you out in the field as an intern. And so I traveled all over the country, Texas, a couple different spots in Ohio as an intern, doing concrete work, got a ton of great in the field education there. And then coming out of school, I had a good resume and was able to get a job. I grew up in Indianapolis, and I got offered to build the Pacers Stadium. I was an avid Pacers fan, so jumped on that opportunity.
How cool. How awesome. All right. Well, Jim, I'm going to ask you a few more questions about kind of what your favorite project has been and a few more things. But, Jim, before we get too deep here, explain to us the relationship between Dahlem and Calhoun Construction.
Sure. I believe it's Dan York, who's our CFO. You all worked together in a previous life. And so we got to know John and Calhoun through that relationship. And what we're doing right now for them is we've actually been working with them on real estate work, helping them find locations that they need for their offices. And so they were in Jeffersontown, Kentucky, at the outset of this, in about 7,000 square feet or so, something like that, 5 to 7, and we found them a building that they leased on Gilmore Industrial, and it was about 12,000 square feet. And then about 4 years later, they outgrew that, and so we found them another property to buy on National Turnpike, and that's 37,000 square feet. And they're continuing to grow because we've actually found another location for them, and that's more than double that size. So we just have been very fortunate to be able to work with them, and we appreciate the business.
John, why is it important for you guys to work with a company like Dahlem that has the expertise that they do, that can find these type of buildings that fit your needs? Give me the importance there.
It's really just a great relationship. They, like Jim hit on, we know their people very well. We've worked with the same people from that very first real estate deal. We don't always know what we're looking for as a contractor. We're worried about building buildings and not really our own real estate.
Right.
And so when we go to them, it's usually kind of open-ended. We need to grow and get bigger, and then we have to find the right fit. And so you need someone that has a little bit of patience to work with you over. You don't find commercial real estate overnight like you kind of do a house. So it is a different type of endeavor, finding commercial real estate. It takes a little more patience and a little bit more dig in, and then you have to be a little open-minded to the different properties because you have to see if your business will fit in there and think through in your head, how are we going to operate out of here? It's a little different than just a typical residential transaction.
Makes sense. All right. So obviously Calhoun Construction has been very successful, and it's kind of a staple here in the Louisville area. What are some of the core values and principles that drive Calhoun?
We're really just a customer-focused company. We came from large projects where we had to deliver a project on time, on schedule, but also just build relationships in the community and with our main customer. That was driven home in my career early on, and that's one thing we focused on here is a lot of our business is repeat customers. We do some transactional hard bid type work in the education. It's how it's done in Kentucky and Southern Indiana, but we do a ton of repeat business where we maintain relationships year after year with customers, make sure they leave every job happy. Some are more difficult than others, but overall, we strive to really please our customers.
And Jim, I'd say you guys have kind of the same mentality at Dahlem, right? I mean, it's all about making sure the customer's happy at the end of the day. And I know that's something that sets Dahlem really apart kind of in your all's industry.
I appreciate that. No, we try to make our customers happy, and as John said, sometimes some people can be more difficult than others, but I mean, we have a great relationship, and we really enjoy working with Calhoun, and all of our clients have been really great to us over time. But yeah, we have to be, as John said, commercial real estate is something you have to be really patient, and you have to peel back the layers and find out what the client wants, and then that can change in midstream.
Sure.
And you just have to roll with that.
Sure. All right, John. So I can't even really imagine. So I'm hearing about all these major arenas. Obviously, you're involved in the Yum Center and Conseco Fieldhouse, just crazy things. And most recently, the Churchill Downs, the paddock reconstruction, right, which is super cool. Talk to me about some of the challenges. I mean, it can't be easy. I mean, I get the fun part. I'm sure the fun part is the planning and putting all this together. What are some of the challenges of some of those major projects?
Everyone is unique and different. The Churchill project, that paddock job is the heart of the racetrack. All the utilities ran through that paddock that were fed there for decades. So before you get to the pretty part of construction, the part you see, you have to move all the utilities. You have to move all the main fiber connections came through there. All their IT came through there. So they're a working business that cannot go down. They have meets nonstop. They have horses are at Churchill from March into December. So every day they're out there training. Every day, 7 a.m. they're out there training. So you can't ever impact the horses. You can't impact the meets. You have to schedule around all those things while keeping a functioning paddock up and running and making all these things happen. It is just a challenging environment to work in, making sure you keep the public safe as they interact with the construction site. And it is just, and it takes a ton of time and effort to think through, and a lot of work between us and them to be successful on both sides, to make it successful for both parties.
So I was blown away by the new paddock. It was unbelievable. The vision there was incredible. How much of that vision is yours? Are you guys just executing, or do you guys help with some of that?
Churchill's a unique client for us, where we do get a little bit of input on the vision. The overall vision came from Populous, an architect, and they're a big sports entertainment architecture firm out of Kansas City.
Okay.
Do a phenomenal job, and they've done a lot of the remodels and additions out there over the last few years. But at Churchill, just due to the fact we've been there for 10 years now, we do have some direct design abilities out there. We got to design the Speakeasy Tunnel out there this year, which was a phenomenal experience, where they came to us at the last minute and said, we want to make this feel like a Woodford.
I saw with the barrels.
Yeah.
Now they're full with bourbon, right?
Those are not full.
Okay, all right. They said it on TV that there's bourbon in there. That smelled like bourbon.
Sounds good on TV.
And it smells like bourbon.
Okay,
they were right from Woodford. They definitely smelled like bourbon. It definitely feels and looks just like a rick house down there. So that was one that we were given.
Well, that's the coolest part. And you guys had some say in that?
Oh yeah. Our project exec, Jeff Palmquist, did an amazing job with that and the whole hidden speakeasy thing. And it was a phenomenal job.
Man. I got a question for you. So you always have a deadline every year, and that's called the Little Horse Race in the first weekend of May,
Yep.
Kentucky Derby. So you have to meet this deadline every year and then get off the site for a period of time, right?
Yep.
That's got to be super challenging, right?
It is challenging. In some years, they push us to be done early. This year, we said we're not getting done until the last minute. We literally got done 10 days before that meet. So, like this year, just the size of the job and the complexity of it, we just knew we were not going to finish any earlier than we could. We had to go to the end. On some other jobs, we've been able to finish a month earlier and let them get in there and get the kitchens going and get into the space. But this was so big and had so much going on. We finished right before that meet started.
With the different projects that you've done at Churchill Downs, you have to run into some really unique things, or run into something that kind of maybe blindsided you that was either funny or not so funny. Do you have any, like, a good example or a good story of what you all have done?
A couple years ago, we did one called the Homestretch Club, and it was renovating underneath the oldest part of the track, where multiple layers have been added over the years with multiple columns coming down from different structures. So no one really knew what we had there as far as structure. So we literally had to demo a little bit, call the engineers in and review. Demo a little more, open it up more, review. Add bracing, make sure everything's stiff enough, then demo some more. So it was a layer thing where you had to keep peeling back the layers to see the structure, and then work with the engineers to make sure everything was done safe before you could start building the job. So, yeah, you get into things out there where they don't have any knowledge of what they really. I mean, the drawings are long gone from the early 1900s. So you have to really figure out what you have in place there.
So what are you saying, John? You guys almost knocked down one of the steeples, or is that what you're saying here?
No, but we definitely, I can tell you there was a lot of stress. We, as part of this year's paddock job, we redid that in the original Twin Spires building. We opened it up, tuck pointed it all, painted all the steel, really exposed the old structure, and there was a lot of stress going into the fact that we did not have a problem with the Twin Spires.
That's, man, again, though, I can't even imagine
no pressure.
What goes in, right, no pressure. All right, so obviously we've talked about some of the high profile, the stadiums, the big giant projects. Are there any of the smaller projects that you guys do that you take some joy in?
Yeah, we really do a wide variety of jobs. We do $50,000 jobs, we do $100,000 jobs, we do maintenance at hospitals. We're doing an OR right now for a hospital. It's an extremely tight timeline. They gave us the job instead in 2 months. This very expensive automated equipment is going to show up for this OR, and it's got to be ready. And so we do tight timelines in hospitals as well. So we do a ton of just different size jobs. We do office remodels. Like another one of our clients, we did a 2-story office fit out off of Hurstbourne 4. They actually named their conference rooms after our superintendent in Calhoun is the name of their conference rooms now. So that's a neat story.
That is a neat story.
So we definitely take joy in making clients happy and working through tough situations. The big high profile ones are neat, and they hit the news a lot more than the other stuff.
All right. So this question is for both of you guys, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to be people that are interested in the business, whether it's construction, commercial realty, whatever it may be. Either they're in the business, interested in the business, want to get in the business. Both of you guys have been very successful in what you guys do. What would be some advice for someone who wants to be part of kind of what you guys do and get their feet wet and just immerse themselves in either commercial real estate or the construction business?
I'll let you go first.
So in our field, construction is one where you can start as a laborer. And it's the type of field where if you have initiative and drive, you can go a long way in construction. You don't necessarily have to have a construction degree at all. You just have to have the drive and the willpower to push yourself forward and solve difficult situations. The carpenter out there that did that speakeasy tunnel we're talking about, he came to us on that job, and we gave him a little thing to do, did a great job. Gave him a bigger project, did a great job. And we kept moving him up until we got to that speakeasy. We didn't know that wasn't our plan initially, but that's how it worked out. At the end of the day, that guy built the highest profile piece of that job that everybody thinks is amazing as a construction worker. Now he's moved up to foreman with us, and he can grow from there. So construction's a unique business where you can get in, and if you show initiative, you can quickly move up. And the same goes in the office if you want to be an office type person. And I would hit on that too, that in construction, we value the field as much as the office. So it's one of those things where you could be a big project superintendent and make as much as a big project manager. So it values all the skill sets. And as long as you have that drive and that initiative to really solve difficult problems, you can go a long way in construction.
That's awesome. Jim?
Commercial real estate, you don't necessarily have to have a degree in finance. I'm a political science major, but I had to go back and get another education. That was a CCIM and designation, and then I got a master's in real estate and construction management. But, that's something that I wanted to do. I know a lot of people who didn't do that, and they have been successful because they just go out and get it done, and they really work hard for their clients, and they just are go-getters. They have to be outgoing. You have to go meet people, solve their problems, and prove that you can solve their problems, and that's the way you're successful in commercial real estate.
That's a great answer. So, John, how much is it knowing kind of all the facets of the business, right? I mean, like, do you need to know the small things that it takes to build some of these things? Like, should you have done some of the laboring jobs to have an idea of what it takes to actually do real construction? Does that help? Does it matter?
It helps infinitely. So one of our estimators came to us from not a construction background, and we actually just flipped him to the field to work with the guys doing pouring concrete. He's a concrete estimator, and he's like, look, I don't quite know what I'm looking at here. So we put him in the field, and he said it's helped him a crazy amount. So when I hit on earlier, I was in college. I interned out in the field. I was literally out in the field raking concrete, 12, 16 hours a day. And it just helps grow your knowledge. It helps grow your respect for what the people out there working are doing. And it helps you on a day-to-day basis. some people are better than others and looking at drawings and picking up what the drawings are telling them, but being in the field and seeing it go together, it helps you a tremendous amount.
I'll go springboard off that if I may. Well, we used to have a construction company years ago. We sold that. And so I actually worked out in the field when I was younger, and I can attest to exactly what John's saying right there. That was very beneficial to me, being out there and seeing how the buildings go together, so that you understand what the process is, and also gives you a lot of respect for everybody who's out there in the field. I remember when I was headed out there, my dad looked at me and he said, okay, here's the deal. You're going to go out there and you're going to be working with a bunch of people out there who probably don't have, definitely don't have a college education. He said, if you shut up and you listen, you're going to learn something. I said, okay, Dad, that's what I did. I went out there and I learned a whole lot.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I've got a similar experience. I was in the golf industry before I started my marketing agency, and I was a golf professional, and I was running golf courses. But a GM at the time said, no, you're going to take a month, and you're going to go work with the greens superintendent. You're going to learn how to cut grass, what the important thing is of seeding and fertilizing. Taught me an amazing amount of the golf industry. I think the point, and what I'm kind of trying to get across here, is starting your way from the ground up. It's pretty important. And a lot of the guys like the two of you have been pretty successful doing just that. So pretty cool. All right, so both Calhoun and Dahlem are kind of staples in our community, not only for the business you guys do, but also because you guys kind of give back. Jim, let's start with you guys. I mean, I know Dahlem gives back in a bunch of different ways. Why is that important?
I think it's important to get back to the community because they give so much to us, and it's just the right thing to do. You try to give. We do things with the Catholic Education Foundation. I was just at an event last night with Hospice. These are all great. Those are two great organizations that need support, and we're just happy to do it. It's just something I just think you should do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the right thing to do. John, how would you answer that?
I would echo that and just say it's also just a great thing for the company. We have a fund every year that we allocate to the actual employees to donate to their own causes. It could be a softball team. It could be to a charity. It could be to anything and everything. We also give everybody a day off a year to go volunteer. Our main, as a company that we sponsor, is Habitat for Humanity. It's a very natural fit being a construction company.
Sure.
And it's great for team building. All the ladies in the office went out a month ago and crushed it. And, and they were very impressed that the women in construction could go out there and just dominate it like that.
Yeah.
They got a ton of compliments. But it was an amazing team building event for our people, but yet still giving back and giving somebody a house at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, and again, I mean, obviously giving back to the people that you guys live with and your kids go to school with, I think is a major thing. And both of your companies do a great job at that. All right, John, what's the future? What's coming? What are the trends in construction? What are you seeing that you think is going to be, 15, 20 years from now? What are we going to be seeing in the construction industry?
Well, construction industry is probably a little slow to change as compared to other industries, but we continue. Manpower is one thing that is always a shortage of in construction. So whatever technology can help us supplement our manpower, it is a huge positive. We use some robots for layout and all kinds of different things on the site already. It's small, but it's growing. So I think over time, just that technology is going to continue to come in and supplement the manpower. And really, there's just not enough manpower to build the projects. There's a ton of large jobs going around Louisville, Kentucky right now between the battery plant and the VA hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Some data centers are getting ready to go. So all those jobs just strain the local labor market unbelievably, and we all feel the impact. So we will continue to automate where we can. It's a little bit hard being on a construction site where everything's moving and changing. But as time goes on, we definitely have gotten better with that.
So do you see AI and automation? Is that part of the construction future for sure?
We use AI at some level in the office already. In the field, I have not seen it yet, but I'm sure it's coming.
Okay.
It's definitely something out there that everybody is trying to figure out how to use it and how to implement it. We've used it in a limited use in the office. But in the field, I would guess over time, it'll definitely have an impact. And I can't tell you what that is yet.
Gotcha. And Jim, I know we hit on this a little bit in our first podcast, but where do you see the commercial real estate industry going?
From a technology standpoint?
Yeah.
Oh, I think AI is going to be something that's people will use. We're still trying to figure out how to use it. I think everybody is. But, it's sort of like a quick Google search when you go in there and you can type in pretty much any question you want.
Right.
What's the vacancy rate for office space in Louisville, Kentucky, and it comes up with 3 sources. I check 3 sources, blah blah blah, and it tells you what it is. But then that's just one source you can go check. But it's going to be I think it's just kind of untold right now. It's just going to take some time.
Understood. That makes sense. All right, John. So sustainability is a buzzword in the construction industry. It's something that a lot of construction companies are using and talking about how they have sustainable materials or how they actually construct in a sustainable way. How is Calhoun approaching that?
It definitely is a thing that in the last 10 years has really grown as an industry, and everybody's looking at sustainability now. We bid and construct a myriad of different projects, and some are very dedicated to that, but through LEED standards. And on those jobs, it's designed into every piece that you procure. You have to have products that have been reused and are very environmentally safe.
Okay.
So it's one of those things that is part of the industry. As a one-off, 7 years ago, we had an executive that wanted to get a Tesla. So we got our first Tesla as a company, and now we have 3 people in the company that drive EVs every day to work, installed a charger at our office, and it's gone very well. You turn a lot of miles in construction, so just cutting down on that gas usage is something that we are going to grow over time as well. It's been actually fairly cost efficient too. I'm not sure if Dan, the CFO, would agree with me there or not, but it's been a nice perk for people. And, and then if there's a will to do it, we've seen it be very successful.
John, how are you guys attracting top talent at Calhoun?
We like to give everybody the best shot they can get. So people come into the construction industry, they want to be challenged, they want to grow their careers. So as a company, we've always focused on growing the business and then doing those iconic projects around town that people want to say they were a part of. And so we really try to attract people who are interested in growing their career and challenging themselves. And we like to get those projects that will challenge them. They're not doing the same bank project or fast food project every single time. You're going to do something different and unique here, and we're going to challenge you and then grow together.
Yeah, that's cool. It sounds like an awesome place to work at. All right, so, and this goes for both of you guys. What is the vision for your respective companies for the next 5 to 10 years?
On Calhoun's end, we'd like to continue to just grow into the best construction manager in this regional market. We've opened the Lexington office up over the last year, where we continue to grow. We're in Owensboro right now working, so we want to grow through Kentucky, Southern Indiana, and continue to grow our footprint, and really just be able to say we can do the biggest and best projects in this area.
Okay.
As a company.
Makes sense. Jim?
We're going to be growing our third-party management leasing work, as well as representing clients like Calhoun. So we're going to be growing that in the next 5 to 10 years, and doing what we've done for ourselves with our own properties for other people.
What do you guys see as the biggest challenges in your respective industries?
In construction, manpower is one that is just workers on site is one that's going to continue to be a challenge for construction. 20 years ago, there was a big focus in education where everybody's pushed to go get a college degree, and that was the best answer. But in reality, you can make a ton of money in the field and have a very rewarding career in the field as a worker, an electrician, plumber, any of those things. So if you're a person good with your hands, I'd encourage you to look at all those options. But truthfully, just finding enough workers has been a challenge for the last few years, and we see nothing but that issue increasing as we look forward. Interesting.
Jim, how would you answer that?
I think the biggest challenge we're going to have is, the economy, and where interest rates are. Real estate is so sensitive to interest rates, and the other thing is the pandemic that came through has really done a number on the office sector, and I think that's going to be a huge challenge for the commercial real estate industry in the future, because there's going to be they're already happening a lot of foreclosures right now on offices, and somehow these buildings have to be repurposed, and so that's going to be a big issue.
Well, and Jim, you're the right guy to ask about this with your political background, and John, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. But where do we stand in kind of an economy when it comes to obviously there's a very volatile political state, but how is our economy right now? Is it good? Is it bad? You guys are on the ground, you see it.
In some ways, I could say it's good, but with the way inflation is right now, I think that's really digging into the wallets of the American public. And so you're seeing less discretionary spending. People are spending on what they need to spend. If they got to pay their rent, they got to pay insurance. And there's less money going around to something that they really would like to just go do. So I think that's a big issue, and it's probably happening. I know in the construction business, I know prices are going up very quickly on building.
Yeah, that's
projects.
interesting, John. What's your thoughts there?
It's a tough one in construction. Luckily, there's a ton of work right now, but like Jim hit on, that causes wages to go up, and that causes strains in materials as well. So it's a positive and negative. But overall, okay. It could be better. It could be worse.
Okay.
Things are moving. So it's not 2008 right now. It's much better than it was then.
Right.
Luckily for all of us, but you would like to see some improvements. The inflation is one of the things that is new to me in this industry. I have never seen it anywhere near this level that we've had the last couple of years, and how to deal with that has been a challenge. Luckily, it's come down from where it was at, so it's better. So it could be better, but it could be worse. So we're moving forward, and things are busy, which overall is a good thing.
Jim, can you give us any insight to anything you guys are working on with Calhoun right now?
Well, we're working on their new office.
Okay.
And we won't give you the address, but we have found the site, and they've got it under contract. They're going through diligence on this, and I don't know. Everything I'm hearing is fairly positive about about the property, and so we're looking forward to getting that closed. We hope. John, would you agree?
Absolutely, we're excited about our new location. Calhoun currently self-performs drywall and concrete work. We're going to start with this new office. We'll be able to move into some additional trades where we can self-perform the work ourselves. We just don't have enough warehouse. We ran out of warehouse space very quickly at our current location. Didn't foresee the amount of self-perform we were going to get into. And so we needed that space to grow some new business lines for us. Cool.
All right, John, I have to ask before we get out of here. Obviously, with all the high-profile projects, what's been your favorite? What are you most proud of?
That's a tough one. The Pacers job, I was a huge Pacers fan. That was my first major project. It was a huge challenge coming out of college. I was given an extreme amount of responsibility in my very first job as a 22-year-old. So that was a huge challenge that I'm extremely proud of. And then the core of the management team of Calhoun came off the Yum Center. I was in that job, but so was Mike Williams, our ops manager, Jeff Palmquist, the executive that handles all the Churchill work, Jeff Weisty, he's a PM that handles a ton of our high-profile projects around town, and then Stacy, one of our key office folks, came off that job. So I'm very proud that we were successful in that job, and then now, 14 years later, we're all still together and still building things. So
that's cool.
It's been a lot of fun together.
Where does the Yum Center stack up, in your opinion?
Oh, it's an amazing facility. It's truly larger. It has more bars than NBA arenas. Mm-hmm. So as a facility, it is an amazing facility. It does great for concerts. It's a great basketball venue. I think it's an amazing venue. It holds more people than NBA arenas. It holds 22,000 people, and most typical ones hold around 18,000. So it seats more people. It has more things in there to do for those people. So it is a top notch venue for Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, it's a pretty special place. I'm a Louisville fan, so obviously it's near and dear to my heart, but I could certainly see an NBA team in there. I know concerts do really, really well there. Quite honestly, our downtown needs the Yum Center to do well.
It does.
From an economy standpoint.
It does.
We really need people in there. We need people downtown. We need that place buzzing.
We do.
So, to me, making sure a place like the Yum Center exists and works is really important for a city like Louisville.
It is. Yes, there's a ton of businesses down there. There's a TIF down there where it funds the Yum Center. So we need the hotels full, we need the restaurants full, and we need a good U of L basketball team in there.
Yeah, amen. We need somebody's going to win. put more than 4 wins on the board.
I'm optimistic.
All right, John. So last question here. Is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know about Calhoun Construction?
We're a very diverse company. We do a ton of different work. We do industrial work. We do hospital work. Everybody sees the high-profile Churchill Downs things and some of our other jobs around town that have been large projects, but we really do. Our typical job is a $4 million job. So it's not a mega project. It's a $4 million job. And then we do a lot, obviously, smaller than that. So that's one thing I want to point out to everybody is that we do a ton of smaller projects on a day-to-day basis. We really like to grow our people. We were a best places to work company multiple times. We're always in the Fast 50 for Business First as a growing company. So it's just that it's a really energetic company that really wants to go somewhere.
It's pretty impressive stuff. Jim, anything you'd like to add before we get out of here?
No, I think we've hit on it. I really appreciate John coming in here and spending some time to talk to us about what he's done in the past. And so thank you very much. And thank you for the business.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And to our listeners, I think this is what you kind of can expect from the Dahlem Realty podcast is we're going to bring in high-level business leaders that can give you some insight that you may not hear elsewhere. And if you're interested in the commercial real estate industry, if you're interested in the construction business, we will be your one-stop shop to gain some more information, gain some insight, and get your feet wet with it. So thank you for listening, and we'll be back with you next month.